Alrighty. As she said, I'm Officer Brad Wolf. Been here for in the city for about 10 years. Been a police officer for it's going to be 5 in January. Like she said, I am a de-escalation instructor through the Aberdeen Police Department, and I actually go around and I do help businesses if they're having trouble with customers, that kind of stuff, just to help try to resolve issues and various other problems. Okay. So basically, when I was contacted and asked to come here and talk about community, what our police department does for the community in general, one of the terms she used was protect and serve. So when you actually look at other police departments, such as ours or any others, a lot of times they just focus on the protection part. Okay, so even when you say it, protect and serve, it's gonna be one of those things they're gonna just put a lot of focus on that protect part, and that's the easiest part of our job. However, that second part, serve, it always falls to the waistline, and a lot of times you get dysfunction between community and police departments, which lately, I mean, I'm pretty sure if you guys watch any news or anything like that, there's a lot of turmoil going on between community and police departments. And a lot of that is just, they don't know each other. There's a lot of separation there. So with our police department, we actually do a lot of stuff within the community that right when we end up starting to go through them here, you'll be able to see, you'll know some of them, and they pretty much go all year round. They're just separated out perfect just so we can actually get out there, meet the public, meet everyone else, and hopefully stay on good terms and everything else. So, police department mission statement: to serve the community of Aberdeen in a collaborative effort to enhance the quality of life through crime prevention, enforcement of laws, promotion of safety, and reduction of fear. Okay, question to you: what do you think this means? How do you interpret this? Anybody? Thank you. Go ahead.
You're trying to not only protect our community, but serve our community to make it a better place.
Correct. So it's one of those things that our job is not, like we said before, we get the whole protecting part, but now we have to start making it more informative. How do we make stuff informative? How do we help with prevention of crimes or anything like that? A lot of this starts with you guys, and people, like everyone else in town, constantly keeps on thinking it's us that does it, when actually for us to know about it, it's everybody that calls in for the most part. How do we accomplish this? These are all things that we do within the city of Aberdeen. SRO, School Resource Officer, Crime-Free Housing, Shoplifting Coalition, Diversity Coalition, Explorers, DARE, Active Threat Training, Law Enforcement Security Assessment, Coffee with a Cop, National Night Out, Police Reserves, Social Media, Bicycle Rodeo, Police Chaplain, Ride Along. All these are open for anyone. Like, if you guys wanted to get into any of these things tomorrow, you guys definitely can. It's just so that we can go out there, hear your guys' voice, and you guys can actually see our perception on what the city of Aberdeen has to offer for the most part here. An example of such, the storefront office, the community patrol. It's a community outreach center. We had a part of everyone here, you guys, how long have you guys been here for the most part? Or is this just a mix of freshmen, sophomore, juniors, and seniors? For a couple years at least? Well, over by Ken's, we had a series of crimes, shootings, some serious stuff that was actually going around that time, and there was an outcry by people that were end up coming into town. They wanted more patrol in that area. So what we ended up doing, since there was actually people that came in, requested it, we went down and actually got a spot over the Super City Plaza, had police officers down there on a regular basis, try to put people's minds at ease, and that's pretty much how our community ended up. It actually opened up a whole nother community to us that we didn't really know that was there. This is Coffee with a Cop, the meeting with the Somali community. We had a couple issues with, or a lot of, not issues, questions raised by the Somalian community in town. And one of the influential parties came up, started talking to us, said that they wanted to meet with us. We told them that the best way to kind of, so that we can actually meet everyone else, hear their stories, tell them, inform them of laws in the states, stuff like that, because they came over not knowing really too much of anything that what our city has to offer, and as far as our way of life, what is allowed, what is not allowed. Next is DARE SRO. Obviously, everyone here has heard of DARE, I'm pretty sure, okay? And SRO, the School Resource Officer. It is a community policing program that builds relationships with kids, teachers, and parents, helps crime prevention through education and information sharing. At the end, what grade is it taught in? Most states, they do DARE all the way through elementary school. Our department is one of the few that actually does it into high school to whoever wants to know it. Just helps them inform, you know, just stuff to look out for. It gives them the knowledge to make better choices for the most part. And the most undervalued thing of this is that with us, we do go into a lot of homes. We do talk to a lot of kids. We do talk to a lot of parents. And sometimes we arrest those parents. And we don't want those kids, because there are times that I go into a house where the mom will request, specifically, I don't talk to their kid because they're scared of police departments, scared of police officers. And the reason being is that the only time that they come in contact with us is when we're separating their family. I mean, and think about that. If you guys were in that kid's shoes, I mean, how good of relationship could I actually build with that kid, with only seeing them when those bad instances happen? It wouldn't be good. So when you have stuff like this, where they actually go to the school, they see the kids, builds rapport, and it helps us deal with certain situations, makes our door open so that these kids can actually have an ear to talk to. And it just gets us in really good terms with them. Crime-free housing builds true partnerships, rental or unit owners and manager, provides immediate information on crime reports to property owners, helps in crime prevention through property inspections and crime-free lease. Apartment complexes in town, okay? A lot of them go through crime-free housing, which is headed by one of our sergeants. So if there's ever gonna end up being an issue with like a crime that took place or anything like that, if I go to like an apartment complex and I end up arresting somebody, normally it ends there, landlord doesn't know about it or anything. Crime-free housing goes through the police department, and when there's that crime, there's a follow-up that's gonna happen the very next day where the landlord knows of everything that ends up happening. It's part of their lease agreement. So it helps them with security measures, and it lets them know, it basically lets other people be aware of the incidents that are going around. Makes it more educated for the whole entire building. Social media, my APD app, Aberdeen Police Department Facebook, Crime Stoppers phone line. Does anybody have any of this or follow us at all in here? Okay. The big one with this, obviously Crime Stoppers, it's anonymous tips, that kind of stuff. The Aberdeen Police Department Facebook page. There'll be people that come into town, they'll steal something, we'll get a video of it, we'll put it on Facebook. A person that we would go from knowing absolutely nothing about, in a matter of hours, that person will either turn themselves in or someone will actually report them. Makes our job a whole lot easier when it comes to that stuff. Because once again, the citizens of Aberdeen don't realize how much they actually help when it comes to crime prevention and actually solving crimes. Because without information, we literally have nothing. National Night Out. It's a national crime prevention event held once a year. We got it started in 2005 in Aberdeen. A large fair-like atmosphere providing information for emergency services. Purpose is to promote neighborhood cohesiveness with law enforcement, encouraging people to turn on their porch lights to remove crime. It was weird how this whole thing started, because it's basically all you have to do is turn on your porch light is how it starts, and it automatically reduces crime in your neighborhood. just because criminals don't want to be seen, and just as something as little as a light can actually, you flip that on, it actually prevents a whole lot more than people actually realize. So when we actually got a chance to do it in 2005, went out and talked to a couple other businesses. Did any of you guys go to National Night Out this past year? Yeah. So I mean, it's like a fair. It's like a mini fair for the most part. We get businesses out there. Everyone talks. You can meet other police officers, firemen, medics, army, whatever you want. There's so many people that follow behind it. Gets the community in, and once again, it gets us to meet these families, meets the kids for the most part, so we can actually try to help out with anything in the future. Working with community. All that stuff is confusing on the right side, but what do you think when you look at this cartoon? Really look at it. What do you think that means? Like, well, how do you interpret that? Okay? You have the gigantic shadow, the fear of crime, to what crime actually really is. What do you think how do you think we actually get it to be like that? Through its education, knowledge, that stuff? Because when people hear that there's an assault in the area, a lot of times people overthink the action that actually took place, and they start going right back to where movies are. Movies make everything so horrific and bad, and it makes people worried about it. When you come to our programs, these little things like that, the big fear shadow that's actually casted over there, which a lot of people have, by the time they leave our organizations, by the time they talk to us, it'll end up being like, oh, I was worried about nothing. Or something so minimal that they just didn't realize, just because they didn't get it, they didn't worry about trying to go and be educated about something that ended up happening. So it's also, if you guys have any questions with anything else as well, I mean, just give us a call. For the most part, we're open 24/7. We have no problem answering whatever question you guys have. Or the first slide that I had with the ride-along information. If you guys ever want to ride along, give us a call. You guys, we can get everything filled out in just that first day. Makes it very easy, and it's wouldn't hurt nothing. You get to see the side of Aberdeen that we see, which is, it's not all bad. So if you guys end up coming for like a ride-along or anything like that, it'll end up being, it could be a busy night, could not be a busy night. It's just one of those. There's really no tell. So like we said before, our department, the way that it is actually set up, we are actually set up to serve Aberdeen. Everything that we do is to try to make it so it's easier for you guys to report. It makes it easier for us to actually solve crimes. And anytime that there is an issue with anything, a lot of this stuff is already told to us about it, so we actually know what to expect. So the only thing that I can possibly say is that everything that we end up doing through the police department, try to keep in mind that you can be a part of it, and you can actually come over, help out whenever you can, or even something as gigantic as National Night Out or something like that, and you guys want to come over and you have concerns, let us know. We'll see what we can do for you. Okay? Do you have any questions?
If you're walking late at night and you don't feel safe, does the police department have a number?
It'll be 626-7911. That'll push you right through dispatch, and then all you have to do is just say your situation, and we can get a police officer over there to try to help you out whenever we get one free.
Can you repeat that?
It'll be 605-626-7911. Okay. Good.
What tips would you give to new students to stay safe in Aberdeen?
To stay safe? Well, pretty easy. Just stay out of trouble. Normally, if it's just I mean, if it's something you have to think twice about, don't do it. I mean, that's really all that I can. I mean, it's one of those things that a lot of this stuff we can get more in depth with because it's such a wide open question. There's a lot of things I would like to do, but there isn't really. I mean, crime's going to be everywhere. That's how it is, even in Aberdeen. I mean, everyone that's been here for a few years. I mean, we've had a lot of stuff happen here, and this is Aberdeen, South Dakota. So I mean, no matter where you go, it's stuff that's going to end up being there. We just got to make smart decisions just to make sure that, minimize the problems or minimize what could the worst things that could possibly happen. Okay. Anyone else have any questions?
Do you have any fun stories that you know? Something that happened interesting or scary?
Any fun stories? There's a talking about just like funny in nature, I guess.
I think, I don't know, anything specific that you'd like to share, whether that be funny or interesting, something that sticks out about your day-to-day job.
The funny stuff I would really have to think back on because there's stuff that happens every day that's just weird, and you don't know why people are calling in because a lot of people think that we're police officers, we're supposed to know everything. So like we had like older ladies in town actually calling in, asking how we set their pilot light and like what's wrong with their plumbing, like stuff like that. We've gotten a ton of calls like that. That's another one. It's seriously endless. I think there was a couple years ago, an old lady was scared to come out of her house because she saw a shoe by a stop sign, and she was scared that there was a foot inside of it. So we had to go there and pick up the shoe and show her that there wasn't anything in it. So, for every day-to-day based stuff, the stuff that, because our community for the most part, we actually have a huge following. Like it's awesome. There's really no turmoil in Aberdeen between the police department and everyone else. So it's honestly, it's seeing everybody. I mean, everyone's so nice that it's just one of those things when you're out and about, people thank you, which it's fine and all, not required, because it makes it kind of awkward for us too, because we don't really know how to respond to that. But yeah, I mean, just being a part of the community in general is actually just really good, especially for here, just when everyone's pretty much for the most accepting. And obviously, if we go to get food or something, sometimes the people in front of us will pay for our stuff and we don't even know it until we go up there, so that's always good too. So. Any other questions? Good? Have I ever used my gun? On the firing range? Sure. Yeah. No, if it was used in Aberdeen, you would know about it. Had one over here. Good?
What do you find the most satisfying part of your job is?
The most satisfying part of our job?
Yep.
Kind of correlates back to me answering her. Everyone has the same thing about wanting to be a police officer to help. But honestly, it's building it's the little things that people don't know about that doesn't get reported that makes it actually so much better. Seeing kids like playing basketball in the park or something like that, and you go up, shoot a couple hoops with them, and then all of a sudden they remember your name. You just built that bridge, so you have rapport with that kid. So if something happens, he feels comfortable talking to you. Building a relationship so you can actually have someone feel completely confident in everything that they're going to tell you, and that trust that it's going to stick with you for the most part, or another person that could just help you no matter what. It's something that it never gets talked about that much, but it is actually really good. When you build a relationship with someone that you did not know before, completely different background, completely different everything, it's actually really good. It's really cool. I'll definitely say that. Yes. Not the first year. First year, I believe you guys had Jark. That was their wide receiver. All you guys did was run outs, and that was at the entire game. I think we lost like 6-7. It was a pretty entertaining game. Saw a hand over here. We're gonna take that back. Okay. Is there anyone actually that's thinking about a career in law enforcement or anything? You are? Are you from around here? Wisconsin? What part of Wisconsin? Okay, so you're a Badgers fan. I'm a Buckeyes guy. So, yeah, well, we're gonna win anyway, so it's fine. I'm pretty confident announcing that. That's okay. What made you want to get into it? Have you ever come up to the police department? You should really consider it, because I mean, here are if you end up wanting to go, even because you don't have to ride the entire night. If you end up wanting to go for a ride along or something like that, go up to the police department, fill out a paperwork, and you can actually just go and ride for a couple hours whenever you want. Give you at least a little bit of an idea what the job is, because it's a lot of times like I said before, movies and stuff, they over glorify the job to a point where it is just, you can't match it, kind of a thing. You don't realize how much paperwork there is, how much other stressors, court, all that other stuff that actually gets attached to it. Now, it's stressful at first, but then right when you kind of start getting into it, it actually becomes pretty easy. Pretty easy to kind of move on from it or anything like that. But yeah, so if you get free time, swing by there and just request a ride with anybody you want. Have any more questions or anything? Okay. Scariest experience? Scared, I would say, haven't really had one of those yet. But it's there's a lot of stuff that we've been through. It's don't need to get in the details, but anything with kids. That's about it. It's another one of those things that no one really thinks about with the job as well, is that you're seeing everybody at their absolute worst. So, and a lot of times, like right when I started, I had story after story after story after story, and then after about 6 months, all of it just started to become norm. Like it was just like there's no story behind it. I'll just go, I'll do it, no, whatever. I have plenty of stories, and just like any other police officer has plenty of stories that would be frightening or anything like that. But for the most part, they all revolve around kids, stuff happening to them, and not really a good deal. But that answer, I guess, is that is that okay? Sorry to leave that so ominous, but we'll just leave it at that, I guess. But any more questions? Go ahead. Oh, man, more than you think. It's the adrenaline jumps you get. Oh, do it like this. Okay, I won't even get into a serious call. You're on the road, you're in the car, you're driving your car down the road, a speeder goes by, just a speeder, going, what would be a safe mile per hour, you think, to pull him over? 8, 10, 10 over, something like that? We'll call that. Oh, you thought 8, 10 miles an hour? Nah. But you just flipping on your lights, pressing your gas, turning around on that car, your heart will be racing the first couple of times that you do it. So it had like little things like that right away it'll get you, but then from that point it'll go from other things like if we end up getting sent to serious assaults where people are leaving a house and they're like, bloody or anything like that. It'll get you going a little bit, but for the most part, they train you to the point where you end up starting to become a little bit, not numb to it, but you're able to push that aside, and then your heart doesn't actually start picking up until after everything's done. Just an adrenaline dump. It's unique. It's a lot like a football, right? I can't really see your sweatshirt that much, but it's a football player, right? It's something like when you make a good play. It'll be just like that. It's awesome, but the second you get to the sideline, you're just dead. So, pretty much like that. But it happens often. Not a crazy amount or anything. Any more questions? Go ahead.
Why did you feel the need to bring this presentation to Northern?
Because I think a lot of people don't realize how much we do for the community outside of arrest people and do that stuff. I mean, and honestly, a lot of people don't realize even a little thing like DARE is actually put on by a police department. And it's basically just to kind of get that out there, that we're actually trying to open up the bridge. And obviously right now, I mean, how many people, I mean, this group might be a little different, but when you actually hear police officer, a lot of years ago that meant a different thing. This year, or not this year, but these past few years, it's been rough, whether it be earned or not. It's just one of those things that there's so much turmoil between police officers and everyone else, and misunderstanding. And it could be from the police officer's perspective and from a citizen's perspective. And it's just one of those things we want to come out here, talk, let you know we're not completely all robotic or anything like that. And hopefully one of the things will actually catch one of your guys' interest and go forward and try to help out wherever you can. And I think people need to realize how important they are in our job as well, because we can't do our job if people don't talk to us. So if you know that you don't like us, you're not going to talk to me. I can't solve that crime through you. So I have to constantly go through other people. So honestly, it's literally just coming up here and just trying to build rapport. So if you guys see me out and about or something like that, you can help me if I need it, you know? And we were asked to. So there's that. Any more questions?
So, my brother, based on the stories that he tells, it seems like a big portion of his job is just almost like a relationship counselor to people who have like a lot of domestic issues. Is that pretty consistent with your experience, or what's your take on it?
It is. There's a lot of civil calls that go through. A lot of times we'll get called from neighbors of married people fighting. And it's basic stuff. Nowadays, it's any little thing that's not the norm, people call in on. And I don't think that's bad, that it lets them know that we'll go to everything, which I'm okay with. But there's a lot of times where, we definitely go over there. It'll be a verbal argument. We'll go over there, tell them, try to keep it down, try to figure out what's going on, and we'll just play mediator for a little bit. Other times, it'll be parents that'll just say that, my kid took the car, I told him no, what do I do now? Like one of those things. Like they're just wanting parenting advice. And given that's not within what we are supposed to do, because we're supposed to be criminal. We're not supposed to be civil based. But we still open that door and we try to help out as many people as we can in that sense. But I mean, it is a lot of the job. It is a ton of it. Because it's, the unfortunate thing is that, something to keep in mind if you were going to be a police officer one day, is that media focuses on stuff that rarely happens. All the adrenaline question, all that other stuff's there, but for the majority of the time, it's literally us just trying to keep the peace with normal people that are just going through a rough go. Marriage problems, kid problems, grade problems, stuff like that. We get called for everything. But that's part of it, and we definitely don't mind it. Where's the police officer at?
Here, in Aberdeen.
Who's that?
Bruce.
What?
Officer Bruce.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Alrighty. Yeah, that's what he deals with quite a bit then, yeah. But, any more questions or anything like that? Okay. Well, I hope you guys got something from the presentation. If you guys see me out and about or anything like that, by all means, feel free to come up and talk. Feel free. It doesn't have to be to come up to me and tattle to me about anybody else. You can just come up to me, free will, talk, and we'll more than happy take some time out of my day to do that. Make my shift a little easier. Okay? All right. Thank you very much.